been 100 years since the foundation of US soccer's governing body, and never has the game there been in better health. There have been many highs and lows in that century, but one major turning point came when the national team qualified for the 1990 FIFA World Cup. They hadn't been to football's biggest party for 40 years before that. Since then, they'd been to 6 finals in a row. And one man made a very particular contribution.
Hi, I'm Paul Caligiuri, and I took the shot heard around the world.
The setting was Port of Spain, Trinidad, the deciding match of the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying campaign. Only a win would do for a USA team with a poor away record.
Trinidad was definitely the favorite because they hadn't lost a home match in the final phase of qualifying. So they declared a national holiday for the next day. You arrived at the stadium, or you actually arrived at the airport. We thought we'd be smart about it and arrive like almost close to midnight. And they had 10,000 people there with steel pans, and it was like carnival was happening.
With no real professional circuit at home at the time, Caliguiri was carving out a career for himself in Germany's lower leagues. Against Trinidad, he was deployed as a defensive midfielder in order to stifle playmaker Russell Latterby. But just after the half hour, he found himself with a sight of goal.
It was just one of those simple throw-ins, possession, throw it back square to Tabaré Ramos, who's the most technical player in our team, the guy that you want to have the ball. And he plays me a bouncing ball. And because the field was so bouncy, I had to take the ball with the chest or the stomach and push it forward and let the kind of bounce subside because I had space. But after I took the touch and I looked up, I could see the onrushing player to pressure me into making a decision. And that's where the instincts jumped in. You know, the only one move I have was to fake right, go left. And then it was just the ball was bouncing perfectly. I practiced that kind of shot growing up almost every day as a kid. I kicked that type of trajectory from those kinds of distance, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. You could call it a Sunday goal, but it was an intentional shot with intentional purpose that landed in the back of the net. And again, I had the desire and motivation to spark my team by attacking, but I didn't think I would be the one taking the shot on goal from that distance at that moment. I knew we were going to the World Cup, and I knew what it really meant to me deep in my heart, that my teammates, more than my brothers, are going to find opportunity after this. And everything was ending. The contracts for US Soccer that kept us alive, they ended in December. We're in November. These guys have one more month of salary or employed. They're smart guys. They've gone to college, they have degrees, they're bypassing their livelihood for their dream of playing soccer. There was mention that, you know, the World Cup was going to be stripped from the United States because we hadn't qualified, we have no pro league, there's no foundation, it's too much of a risk, don't know if Americans are going to come out and support the World Cup. That was the biggest danger that we were aware of outside of what our goals were, what our passions were, is to prove the world we could play, to play with the best, we could do it, and to provide opportunity for everyone that wanted it. It's been amazing to realize the impact it's had.
They'd secured a landmark qualification, but no one gave them a chance in Italy, and they didn't really help themselves.
We didn't really prepare ourselves. We didn't send someone to evaluate where we should stay, why we should stay, do you send cooks, and things like that. We were just, first time in 40 years, first time really participating in the modern World Cup.
Their first match against Czechoslovakia was very one-sided. Though Caliguiri scored again, it was a mere consolation, as they were handed a 5-1 thumping. It was a result that left the fans of their next opponents, hosts Italy, feeling very confident.
This time the fans, of course, Italy, are going 10-0, 10-0. We had no respect. It's almost like it's better off you're not being there, keeping the respect we had and never qualifying, than saying, hey guys, you guys are so far behind, we're gonna beat you 10-0. Change happened at that game. We lose 1-0 to Italy, where 80,000 Italians gave us a standing ovation and clapped, because America, I thought, grew up that day. Against one of the elite giants of global soccer, we didn't lose 10-0. We lost 1-0. We had a chance late in the game to tie it. For a country of that prestige, it was a big scare.
The momentum carried through to the next World Cup. The Americans were hosts, and in 4 short years, Caligiuri had seen his chosen sport move from the fringes to the centre of his nation's consciousness.
We talked about the night before, the players kind of gathered together and said, do we realize we just changed soccer forever in the United States? It's been something that we've dreamed about that's now reality. And the impact you see is when you're driving literally up to the stadium. You got the police escorts, they all moved to the side, but the fans and the joy that they were sharing with us is the joy that we've experienced from the beautiful game. And now the Americans could experience the beautiful game that was embedded in our hearts.
2 years later came Major League Soccer, and the game in the USA was able to consolidate. A professional structure meant an opportunity for young Americans to choose to devote themselves to the world's #1 sport. Caligiuri himself played on till 2001, and now spends some of his time coaching locally.
I didn't grow up looking at the United States national team. I didn't even know it existed, if it existed. And probably at times it didn't. I didn't have role models. You know, I think it's a different impact today knowing that there's American players, that these players are hungry saying, I want to be better than Landon Donovan. I'm going to do more than Paul Caligiuri. We're going to be greater than the national team. You watch.
Paul Caligiuri, the man who set the wheels of US soccer in motion.